Tottenham made substitutions which ultimately changed something for them. What did it feel like out there for United at that moment in time?
Yeah, we knew that it's going to be hard the second. Obviously, they was going to push. But since before the first goal we conceded, I think we played a very, very good game, very solid. So I think we still have to work a bit on the goals we conceded.
Richarlison scores. It's looking likely at that point. That's the winner. But what's the conversation out on the pitch amongst you all?
Yeah, I tried to talk to the guys and told them to stay in the game because it's still 5 minutes to go, and we know in a football game everything can happen. And I think we all are very strong mentally right now to come back, and that's what we've done.
Well, you're 5 unbeaten now. Has that mentality come from this run that you've come on? Has something feel like it's changed?
Yeah, I think it built the confidence, obviously. When we don't lose, it's always easier on the pitch, outside the pitch, in the training ground. So everyone is enjoying a lot, and yeah, we're going to try to build this on as long as possible.
And look, another goal for you out there tonight. You're just enjoying life at Manchester United. You look like you're playing and having fun.
Yeah, obviously it's a lovely place to play, to develop, and I've got great teammates who are helping me, obviously, and yeah, I think everyone is working really hard, and I think it makes the job for everyone easier.
Lovely. Bryan, thank you. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Well, he enjoys scoring against Spurs, doesn't he? 5 in his last 5 games against them. Just how impressed have you been with him since he signed for Man United, Peter?
Listen, I've been impressed with him for a number of years now. I think Brentford, he's a killer. He's a danger. He's sharp with his touches. I thought today he was playing right in front of us here. And he's so sharp. And I think when he gets a chance, invariably finishes. He's cold in front of goal. And I think he's been such a big addition to what Manchester United are trying to do this season.
Does he give you that high energy and that work ethic? Same with Cunha as well, that they've been working.
Do you know, I think his biggest attribute is it gives quality. Do you know, I think he reminds me a little bit of Mo Salah in and around the box. When he gets it, he has a clear picture of exactly what he wants, whether the finish near post or back post. He almost shows like no emotion. It's just like business in and around the box, and I love that. You know, you can play into his feet, you can dribble. Crouchy was mentioned his touches and how sharp he is. Technically, I don't think he gets enough credit. People talking about his goal scoring, rightly so. But he's an exceptional football player. And look, he just stands there real chill. You know, people have come to Manchester United, huge names, and struggle with the pressure. He just sits there, super calm, super chill, top scorer this season. So I think with him and Cunha and Bruno, and if they can get Šeško up and running, they've got 2 absolute belters in there to take this club forward. 25
Premier League goals since the start of last season, Peter. He's so consistent in the numbers he puts up as well.
Yeah, I think certainly with Bruno Fernandes' ability as well, there was a real frustration last year with what was in front of him. He kind of found himself trying to do things on his own, probably taking more shots from maybe outside the box. But I think certainly with Cunha and Mbuemo, he's got players who are ready-made for the Premier League, players who've scored in the Premier League. They've proven that last season, and they're proving it again now.
How do you view it?
In the end, if you see the game, I think during the game you feel that the 3 points were there to take the 3 points home. But then, with everything that happened, with Harry has to come out, Casemiro has to come out, Ben suffered 2 goals again in the short period of time, but to manage to score again, so it's a point. When you cannot win, you don't lose the game, and once again we managed to do that. But if you look to the game and if you feel the environment, we have so much to grow as a team, because today was our day to win this game.
Tottenham came and made some substitutions at half-time. What sort of changed for them to get back in the game to get the 2 goals for you?
I think it's more we need to look at ourselves. We were not pressing with the same intensity. We allowed because we felt comfortable, but we need to understand that. But to feel also that if we have a little bit more bravery, we can kill this game. But sometimes it's like that. You have a first half better than the second.
But the mentality is clearly there, because at the end it looked like Richarlison was going to score the winner, but then De Ligt still had the opportunity.
Yeah, I think is the positive point is that they managed to push forward, to understand with less one player is to push the ball to the final third, trying to win a corner. We did that, and then we believe in our capacity to score goals until the last minute, and we did that.
I wanted to ask you about Sene Lama's great saves today from close range. In the very opening minute of the game, it looked like he just took his eye off the ball and it rolled under, but that didn't affect him, and it could have done. What do you sense about his mentality and how he's settling?
He's doing really well. He's very adult, and he understands that in a game a lot of things can happen, but especially for a goalkeeper, you need to move on for anything that happened in the last minute. So it's like a new game every time the ball is on the pitch. I think with the 23 years old, he understands that quite well.
Benjamin Šeško came off. Is he injured himself?
We have to see, but maybe I think he has a problem, but let's see.
And as we go into the international break, what's sort of your assessment? What's your feeling?
We need it is a little bit frustration, but also a little bit pride of the response of the players after the second goal of Tottenham. Then to look at the team, I understand that this is just the tip of iceberg. So we are just in the beginning of becoming a very strong team. So we have a lot to do, and we are going to work with the guys that are not going to the national team, and we are going to evaluate everything, trying to see also games from the kids. So try to use this space to on evolution of our club, not just the first team.
Ruben, thank you very much.
And also inform attacking players, which obviously we were speaking about Šeško, if he was ready, maybe having a good opportunity to score. But as he said, if you're not winning the game, you better not lose it. You know, so a point, a draw, I think he's going to be okay with it. But I think he regretted it. As he said, the 3 points were there for them to take it. Maybe they are too comfortable at times, thinking that Spurs are falling asleep, the stadium is too quiet, so it's going to be okay. But it shows you that in football, you never know. Last 10 minutes, we witnessed a drama, and in the end, a draw.
Not good news for United fans. We mentioned Maguire and Šeško's injury. So Casemiro had to come off.
With an injury.
With an injury as well.
Well, that's the job of the manager eventually, to know how to manage a situation like this and to make the players ready for the next game. And they have a good fixture of games that they can, if they're ready and have that consistency, concentration, and that bravery, let's say, of the forward pass, of the risky pass, of taking the chances when it's there, I think the season can go even better, because they're in a good position to attack the first places in the table, because the difference between points is very, very small.
Ruben Amorim's side now unbeaten in 5, 3 wins and 2 draws in that run. Significantly, though, in those 2 draws, they've been behind and fought back to take a point. What do you think, guys, then we've learned about their character and the resilience that's developing under Ruben Amorim?
Yeah, I think just hearing him speak there, you know, he's trying to build a football club. I know he's under a lot of pressure, and yeah, you've got to get results, but he is doing the right things. He's aware of the stat of keeping academy players over a certain amount of time. He's talking there about going to watch the youth teams, the younger players, to create the first team, but create a football club as well. And I think that is, if I'm a fan, I think that is a positive aspect. There are managers who have come in previous seasons that completely concentrated on the first team and disregarded a lot of what's been built before. I think he does have that mentality about him, that he does want to be here for a long time, and he obviously need results, but he wants to build a football club, not just a first team.
And that goal from Richarlison must have been an absolute sickener. But how important was it that they didn't lose this game, Owen, given the run of fixtures that they've got coming up, so they can keep that unbeaten streak going?
Yeah, that's a great point, Lindsay. Last season they would have lost this game, and to be fair, it was a game they probably should have won. You know, they had comfortable control of it. And then they probably just dropped a little too deep. You got to credit Spurs as well. They've, pushed bodies forward, got bodies in the box and kept crossing it. But I thought United, obviously, when Harry Maguire went off and Casemiro went off, and then Benjamin Sesko, they lost a little bit of that control that they had. But I think he'll be happy with the sense that they, to get a goal late in the game. They're still in a deep position. There's no European football, and if you look at the fixtures coming up, they're Everton, Palace, West Ham, Wolves. After those, they'll be second. I think, and they'll be in a position where they can strike. And I think if you look at even Spurs and Chelsea, everybody's got European football. Amorim's got time on the training pitch. He's a great coach. We know that from his time at Sporting. Last season was tricky trying to navigate all the fixtures. I think if you look at who they're going to play in the next 5-6 games, and the way they've been playing, unbeaten in 5, and the squad that he has, and it's settled. And Mbuemo has been terrific.
But you're going to lose him for 6 games, and Ahmad as well. What about the impact of that on their European chances?
I mean, that's going to be tricky. But again, I think hopefully without so many games, they can keep the squad healthy, and he can rotate players in. Obviously, Šeško's an interesting one. They'll need him. But obviously, to see what happens with that injury. But I think the squad's good enough. And I think without not having European football, I know it's a miss for the club, but actually it could help them get back into those top 4. Let's not forget top 4, probably top 5. And if they get back into Champions League places, then that's been a good season.
Top 4, do you think they can do it?
I just think there's been a lot of inconsistencies in and around that. Arsenal have been the most consistent, but Liverpool at times, Manchester City at times have struggled. I think there is an opportunity for someone maybe not at the start of the season, someone that not been tipped for the start of the season to get into that top 4 or 5. Bournemouth are going great guns at the moment. Manchester United potentially get in there. Spurs themselves. I do think that.
Who finishes higher between the two? Because Thomas Frank was saying how evenly matched they are.
I think it's difficult. I think when Spurs get their players back, I think certainly Kulusevski's been their best player. I keep banging on about Solanke. I think Maddison. I do think that puts them in the hunt. United have signed well, but I do think there's certain frailties there. If I had to put my long neck on the line, I'd say I'm going to say Spurs, but maybe I would say that.
You would, Owen?
I think United will, and it's just because of the European football side of it. I think the United will be rested. They go into the games. It's a huge advantage. When you're playing away in the Champions League and then you got a Premier League game on the weekend, you're tired and you've travelled. It's a huge advantage for Manchester United in that situation. And again, it'll be interesting to see what happens in January. The teams recruit players, but you look at Crouchy makes a good point. Missing Solanke, Maddison, Kulusevski. When they come back, they'll probably play different football. But I just think, if they can find a way to finish top 5 United, then that would be great.
You would think it's kind of 1 or 2 places, the 4th and 5th. I think Manchester City and Liverpool are that further
Arsenal,
ahead.
Yeah, they're done. Yeah, those 3 are through. Yeah.
3, you would expect them to finish. I think Manchester United and Tottenham are below that, but there is potential up for grabs in that position. I think that could be anyone's.
Well, we can get some more reaction from the Man United camp. Both on 18 now in the table. It started really slowly, this one. It was almost a bit boring early on. It took a while to get going, but what a brilliant finish it was. Now you've had time to reflect on it, Peter. Who do you think is going to be happier with the points?
I think going into the international break, I think they both probably take the point. I think Manchester United, certainly in the position they were. I think Tottenham first half especially were disappointing. They were throwing balls into the box. I think that was fair to say. Didn't create a great deal. And Manchester United the same, really. And then, we just went crazy towards the end with the substitutions working. Certainly with Spurs, they put an extra impetus in Spurs' play, and then a set piece at the end to kind of save Manchester United. But I suppose you have to look at it with lots of it labelled at Manchester United with their mentality, and getting a draw out of the game in a difficult circumstances would prove that wrong.
There'd only been 3 shots on target up until Matisse Tell got the equaliser for Spurs in the second half. That substitution didn't go down very well, Owen, but with just his second touch, scored a brilliant goal.
Yeah, whether it was about Xavi Simons or Tell, but the fans weren't happy. They hadn't created much from that point, but actually, once he came on, and Odegaard, he's the one who receives the ball in the half turn there, and Udogie as well. That left side was completely transformed, and they created loads of opportunities. I think it's the most crosses they've ever had in a Premier League game into the box. But I just thought, Crouchy, this left-hand side, there was a little bit more positive and energy getting at Manchester United.
A hell of a lot more urgency. Odegaard, especially, when he was facing Ahmad, he definitely had the beating of him. And You have to say it was a great finish. Took a slight nick here, but the first touch kind of sets it up from Tell, and obviously as a swipe at it, the touch from De Ligt just takes it away from the goalkeeper.
And big celebrations from Thomas Frank. All three subs involved as well. We're giving him a lot of praise at that point for the impact of those subs, Crouchy.
Well, it's a sweet feeling, I think, certainly when the crowd may be on your back for some of the celebration, for some of the substitutions, and then you manage to get the positive result and outcome, and them all contributing as well.
And then they just built from that to the point where Richarlison thought he'd won the game for them. The celebration certainly said that he thought he'd won it.
But you know what, Linz? They had loads of bodies in the box, obviously, for that first goal. And then, obviously, here, they just do really well. But Richarlison, it's such a clever header, Crouchy, isn't it? You see on this angle, Ugarte, he gets in there deep and he can't get out. He just doesn't have time. That's why Richarlison's onside. Obviously, they're going for the shot. But the header, Crouchy, from Richarlison is great.
He needed that, Richarlison. He had a difficult afternoon, I thought, today. But that was his moment. It was a fantastic flick of the head, great finish. But I thought he had a difficult game. But the relief of that moment, I've been in those situations where you probably haven't had the best of the game. It's not really gone for you, and you feel like you've scored the winner, and that is a special moment.
Have you celebrated like that when you've thought you won it and then regretted it when you didn't take all 3 points?
Shirt off Linz would have been a red card for me, not just a yellow. So I'll refrain from that one in my career.
That was the 91st minute, Owen, but in the 96th, Matthias de Ligt with an equaliser for Manchester United. And this is a pattern now from the last 2 games where they've gone behind but then come back to take a point. So is that progress?
Yeah, brilliant reaction. Obviously, I think it's Brennan Johnson. He's marking de Ligt and he just loses sight of him. I mean, we've seen that deeper ball on set pieces be such a feature this season. It's a great ball and it's a fabulous header from de Ligt, obviously at the death. I think in the end, it's 2-2 is probably a fair result. Can Vicario maybe be outside his post that he could probably save that? Once he touches a Crouch, he's in the goal. But I thought in the end that was probably a fair result.
It's his first goal of the season, but how important has he been for them defensively this season? Yeah,
that's been important. Definitely, I think Luke Shaw in there has been fantastic as well, and obviously a young goalkeeper coming in as well. I think that's been important for them as well. I think Casemiro again being a protection, but listen, there was some bad moments for both sides today, but some good moments, and I think overall going into it, I think they'll be happy with the draw.
How will this go down, do you think, with Spurs fans? Because that puts them up to 3rd, but having had the euphoria of that Richarlison goal and then only taking a point, so still not a win at home in the Premier League since the opening day, Owen. Yeah,
I mean, if you can't win it, don't lose it. And I think obviously could have had 3 points, but a point is probably going into the international break is probably not a bad result. And they're in a great position to strike. Obviously, I know they've got some tough fixtures coming up. They got Arsenal, they've got PSG, but they're in a good position in the league.
See the Spurs manager, Thomas Frank, coming out to join us now. Hello, Thomas. So a point at the end of that game, after the euphoria following Richarlison's goal, does that feel like a good point gained, or do you feel like you let 2 points slip?
I think the very big positive from this game is, I would say, the overall performance, but especially second half, where we stick to the game plan, stick to the structure, stayed in the game, kept doing the right thing, kept believing, which of course I think is, I think that's huge when we, look back at the Chelsea game and we haven't won as much home and all that. We know it's out there. So that to keep going, don't get attracted to stuff we shouldn't do, and then we come back, scored a brilliant goal, then we get the 2-1 up, and of course you're disappointed we don't win that late in the goal, and in the end an 11 against 10. But that is just football. How many times have you seen it? So the positive is the players' reaction and how they kept going.
And the positive, I guess, as well, the impact of your substitutions in the second half. How pleased were you with the impact they made? All 3 of them involved in Matisse's goal.
Yeah, definitely. I think we talk about it all the time. It's not necessarily the 11 starting. It's the players coming on. It's a squad throughout a whole season. That is the most important thing.
How difficult is it with the players on the sidelines at the moment? I don't think many people have suggested that. Obviously, attacking-wise, so many players missing. How difficult has that been?
No, of course it's difficult, but that's why you have a squad. So you have other players that need to both step up, and you need to make it work. That's my job. But again, on the flip side, I don't know any coach that don't want his best players on the pitch, of course. But I think today was a good step forward, also offensively.
I mean, initially in the game, I think there was a lot of crosses, but not many of them came off. But obviously for the first goal, it felt like you had a really good presence in the box. Man United defenders were occupied. And I thought that's kind of where that persistence came from, kept getting the ball wide, getting crosses in.
Yeah.
And obviously Tel does brilliantly.
Yeah, I agree. And I think first half, we got a massive chance to Richarlison. It's like it's a free header. He needs to do better. He is so good at that. We know that. But you're right. There's something in where's the opportunities, where's the gaps. So in open play, maybe a little bit down the side on the outside centre backs, but because they sink in and even they have a lot in the box, I think there's good opportunities for the crosses.
How do you feel about Xavi Simons? It looked like he worked hard today. Bits came off, bits didn't come off. What do you make of his performance?
But I think it was, again, a positive step in the right direction. I think he had a good game against Copenhagen. Of course, it's a different opponent today. So I think he worked hard. I think he landed on the right second balls. I think he was involved in the right actions. And I think he's getting closer and closer to a high level.
What are the things you still want to do better at the end of that performance? It took a while for the game to get going from both sides, really, but what are the improvements you still want to see?
No, I think we need to acknowledge it's two very even teams. Yeah. When two very even teams play each other, I think they want probably to defend quite well. We want to probably defend quite well. Yeah. Then that makes it easy just to make big chances. It's not like, when we look back at it, we gave 5 shots away in the game. That's on paper an unbelievable defensive performance,
and the goal was a mistake, really.
Exactly,
again, yeah.
Exactly. So that's why in many ways it was a positive performance going forward, in my opinion.
And you're third as it stands now, following that point. How does that set you up as you go into the international break? But then when you come back, you've got 2 massive away games on the horizon with Arsenal and PSG on the way.
Yeah, I think I take a lot of positives out of this performance. There's always things we want to do better. I think if someone had asked us where we are right now, to be able to compete okay in the Champions League, compete okay in the Premier League, with where we were last year, and also with the amount of injuries still, we can't run away from that. I think that's quite good. There's definitely something to build on. There's so much we still want to do better, but the positive for today again was second half. The players' reactions, the mentality and the focus to keep going, doing the right thing, very impressive.
Thomas, thank you very much for coming out to join us. We appreciate it.
Thank
you.
Thank you very much. Good to see you. Thank you.
Always honest, Thomas Frank. Very, very keen, though, to focus on the positives there from Tottenham's performance. How do you think this does set them up as they go forward? Being third in the table, Peter.
Yeah, I think he spoke really well about the situation. I think we can't get carried away. He knows full well they haven't. There are improvements to be made, and he was honest about that. I think there will be improvements, but I think if you look at the players that do have to come back, certainly Kulusevski was their best player. I think Maddison, their most creative player, and the number 9, Solanke especially, I think a massive one. That's to the point that Son's been moved on as well. There's a lot of goals in that. And I think the fact that they're third in the league, and yet they haven't quite hit their best, I think. But when they get those players back, and if they're still there or thereabouts, it'll be a big achievement for them.
And he's talked as well about just the 5 shots that they faced in the game. So very much given them a platform to build from, Owen. Do you think it's just going to be time till that attacking rhythm can come on top of that?
Yeah, I thought the first 60 minutes they were very average. Then he made the changes, and I think the energy and the momentum from the players was completely different. So I think he'll be happy with that. But you think about it, Crouchy, you said it, Kulusevski, Solanke, Maddison, Lucas Bergvall. When those boys come back in, technically they're a better side and they can probably play better football. I think they had more possession than Man United today, but again, they got the ball wide and they crossed it. It wasn't really intricate play. But I think you think about the position that they're in the Champions League and the Premier League, they should be delighted considering the injury list that they have. So they'll play better football for sure. But I thought the finish was good.
Although they had more possession, I think, Tottenham, I think it always felt like Manchester United, I think with Cunha and Mbuemo, it felt like they had more of a cutting edge.
Yeah, absolutely. And positives for Man United we will get into as well, because they take another point after going behind in a game, fighting